Hi, I'm City Scrapper. I've been scrapbooking for a very long time, about 23 years, but this is my first video. When I look on YouTube, I love to find layout chairs. I find them really exciting. I find them very inspiring. I love seeing what other people are doing, and so I thought it would be fun if I could share my layouts with you. So the layouts I'm going to show you today are layouts that I made in May, mainly May. And I made a lot in May because I was participating in Load, the Load Challenge, hosted by Scrap Happy. If you're not familiar with that, it is a challenge in which you create a layout a day. There are subject prompts and technique prompts, meaning there's a subject you could try to scrapbook, and then there's also techniques you could use or materials you could use, things like that. You can scrapbook both or either, or you could just pick your own thing to scrapbook. But at the end of the month, you have 31 layouts, and I really enjoy that aspect of it. I also created some layouts for Paper Issues for their Facebook group, and then I also created some layouts for Paper Passion Posh, which is an Etsy shop where they sell these beautiful cut files, and I have a couple of layouts I created for them. So this is the very first layout. This layout is kind of a simple one. It is using ephemera, splatters, some watercolor sprays, and my photo. That one came together really quickly. I loved the pictures for this layout. I was a little worried about using so much yellow in the layout, so I went onto Pinterest and I found a color scheme that had yellow, and I like the purples and the blues, and I think it was a good balance of colors, and I'm pretty happy with the way this one came out. I also used a stencil that I made from a Silhouette store cut file, and splatters in black and white. I use a lot of splatters in black and white, a couple of excessive embellishments, and I am trying to use more tags to put my journaling on pages, trying to tell the story behind the pictures and not just displaying the pictures. And I'm trying to make a big effort to do that in the pages that I'm making now. So you'll see a lot of tags in my pages. That's not something I've done too much in the past. There's no mixed media on this one. This layout is using an authentic paper collection, and I did instead of using tags, I just put the journaling right on the page. Sometimes I don't like to do that. Sometimes the layout lends itself to having a journaling block. So this page, again, doesn't have any mixed media. It's kind of a clean page, and it's about my older daughter who loves to make things. This page is, I don't know if you're familiar with Bob's Burgers. It's a cartoon for, not necessarily for younger children, but it's my children watched it when they got older. And my daughter and I love to imitate Linda, who is the mother on the show. And so she got me a Linda costume for Christmas. And I really almost exclusively use packaging and markers, some of my alcohol markers. There's a couple of flares and a couple of letter stickers, but other than that, everything is just things that I drew or that I found on the costume packaging. This layout, as you can see, has a lot of mixed media in the background, and I use a Simple Stories birthday kit and birthday collection, and again, you could see my black and my white splatters. I use those a lot. I enjoyed creating this one. This was using a technique I had never tried before. Alice Bowl, who runs the Scrap Happy group, that doesn't belong there. She had taught a class on how to use stencils, and she showed a technique where you use a stencil, you put down texture paste, leave the stencil there, and while the texture paste is still wet, you spray sprays on there, some watercolor sprays, and I really liked the effect that it made. I thought it came pretty cool. So that was fun to try. I hope to try that one again. This layout is for the Paper Passion Posh Etsy store. This Enjoy the Little Things is the cut file that I used. I love this cut file. I love the way once I backed it and decorated it, the page was almost done. And I used a Simple Stories summer collection that I absolutely love on this one. I think it's called Hello Summer, maybe? This was a simple layout, just using 3 pieces of paper, some mixed media. I use a lot of the Tim Holtz Distress Oxides, a couple of embellishments, and I backed the picture. And that one came together quickly as well. Okay, this one was fun because even though I've been scrapbooking for so long and I've been collecting sequins and confetti and all kinds of things, foam tape, I never made a shaker before. So this was the very first time I ever made a shaker. I was pretty happy with the way that it came out. And it's a little bit big, but I'm okay with that. And other than that, I just used, I think this is a Jolie's embellishment and some other graduation themed embellishments. And other than the shaker, that was a pretty quick one too. Here's another one with a mixed media background. For this one, I kind of challenged myself because I have a number of ephemera packs that I don't have any paper for them. I don't have the matching paper for them. So I just use mixed media, and this is all from the ephemera pack other than the pearls and the enamel dots and the background paper. On this one, I think you'll know what I'm talking about. I had a really good feeling because I was able to use this very, very old die cut piece of paper. I've had it in my stash for a very long time, and I scrapbooked my dogs. This is Jackson and this is Coco, and I tend to scrapbook them a lot. Whoopsie. This is a layout of both of my daughters. These are my 2 daughters right here. They went to a concert for a group. It used to be called Paris, but then my understanding is they weren't allowed to call themselves Paris because someone else was named Paris, so they changed the A to a V. Don't ask me how to pronounce it. I don't really know, but that's the name of the group now. And I thought it was pretty cool. They got to take a picture with them before the concert. My husband drove them to a concert in a snowstorm, but the concert went on and they had a great time. This one is, again, some background sprays. I use white splatters. You could see in this one, I didn't go as crazy with like the whole background being covered by the sprays, but I like the white space. I like the way the white space came out on this, and I have to try to remember to use more white space and not go as crazy with the colors on every layout all the time. This next one, this is a cover page for a 2015 Cape Cod album I'm doing for one of my daughters. And you could see that I just use a lot of travel ephemera, and this was a postcard that I got when I was there. And this one was another one that came together really quickly. This one is using a cut file from the Paper Passion Posh Etsy store. And again, once I had backed and decorated this cut file, the page was almost done. I just added some butterflies, stitching. I used a Paige Evans collection for this. And yeah, that was another one that was fun to make. This is also from Cape Cod, from quite 5 years ago, I guess. And I like the way I was able to get a lot of those little pictures that I don't know I would have made a whole page about, but I still wanted to include in the album onto this layout. I used, again, the sprays. There's texture paste in here. I'm not sure if you can really still see it. And then I make these with molds. You know, you put clay in the molds. Some of them are Prima molds. Some of them are other molds that I've gotten along the way. And yeah, I like the way the white looked against the photos, so I put the title right on top of the photos. Okay, I know I like to say that I had fun making them. This one was so much fun. I can't tell you how much fun I had making this one. So I kind of spent the better part of the afternoon one day cutting out all of these leaves and fronds and everything else for using my Cuttlebug and my dies. And then I just put them all together. You could see there's a couple of tropical flowers added in and some pineapples, and I put splatters in the background, and there's some jewels as well. This is another graduation picture. This is of my daughter when she went to her school for graduation. When she was at her school the day of graduation, we took a picture with these folders. We had seen these when we were touring the school before she was accepted. We saw that there was a folder for each student in her major, and we thought, oh, wouldn't it be great if you had a folder? And she did indeed have a folder there for 4 years, and when we got there, the folder was empty because that was the end. Okay, I love this picture. This picture is something, this is a picture my sister gave me just recently. She sent it to me. This is my older daughter when, I don't know how old she is, maybe 3 here. And this is my sister's younger daughter, and her older daughter is just visible in the background there. And I thought it was such a sweet picture. And my daughters are so lucky to have cousins that they're so close to. I love these kind of layouts. I love making them with the flowers and the chipboard and the splatters and the texture paste. And I have a lot to learn with these kind of layouts, but I do really enjoy making them. This layout uses a very, very old K & Company collection. I believe it's called Abriana, and I love the K & Company papers. They had such beautiful, bright papers, and I just had fun with this one, like all of them. If you're not having fun, then switch it up, I guess. This is, again, this is Jackson and Coco. So when we were looking to adopt a dog, we went to a rescue and we saw Jackson, Coco, and there was another dog too, but that dog was wasn't quite right for us. But my daughter wanted Jackson and my husband wanted Coco. So we decided on Jackson, and when we went to pick up Jackson, my husband asked if we could have Coco too. Coco couldn't come home with us that week because she was on medication, but we went back the next week and picked up Coco, and it was super cute to see the two of them reunited. According to the people that worked there, they were good friends, and they were clearly very excited to see each other, and they've been not more than a few feet away from each other ever since. So I enjoyed retelling that story or recording that story. This is another layout using a cut file from the Paper Passion Posh Etsy store. I backed the cut file. This is a wooden, like a wood title that I just used some paints to tint, and just had to add in some embellishments, and then I was done. I also had some fun splattering the background. This is kind of like a mixed media paper that I found, and I thought it was a good offset for the wreath. I love, love, love using this technique when you have a bunch of papers and you love the papers, but there's not too much left of them. You don't only have little strips, or you have a lot of strips that you don't want to throw away. I love cutting them into, these are 1/2-inch strips, and it's just random. So whatever you have, just arrange it, glue it down. Sometimes I make a a banner going this way, or there's all different ways that you can do this, but I love this technique. And then in concert with the mixed media background, I think it's fun. This wasn't one of my favorite layouts. I had this one and the next one. They're layouts. They showcase a picture. I love this picture because this shows my 2 daughters and my 2 nieces and my nephew quite a number of years ago. You could see how little my daughter is here, and then this was them this year, and they saw that this picture was on the coffee table of my sister's house, and the kids kind of orchestrated it and took the picture again in the right order. So I love the picture, and I like the layout, but it's not my favorite. This one's another one that was fine, but there's really nothing special about it, but I think that it just captured the moment after graduation. Okay, this one you can see that I tried my shakers again, that was fun. I was a little better at it this time than I was the first time. I learned a few things. I used a stencil that was a sunburst stencil, and my daughter helped me. I can sew a little bit, but she was helping me. The machine was getting jammed and stuff, so she was helping me out. I love adding stitching to pages. I feel like stitching, whether it's hand stitching or machine stitching, it adds so much. I really have to do it more. And then in addition to the clouds and the picture, I really just needed a title and these 3 very old Jolie stickers. This is a layout. This is using an old collection from My Mind's Eye called, I think, Meadowlark. And I thought it was just a pretty piece of paper. Thought it was good for graduation, the black and white. My daughter's school colors were orange and black, so orange is kind of a hard color to work with, especially as bright as their color is. I'll show you a layout that has that next. But I liked the story about how my daughter changed her career aspirations. She started school thinking she was going to be an American Sign Language interpreter, and then she kind of found that it didn't make the most of her skill set, and she decided she was going to change her major. And this talks about how it's okay to change your dreams and change your path. And yeah, I'm glad to have recorded that sentiment. And now she's going to another college, all set up with her next major. So all's well. Here's another cut file from the Paper Passion Posh Etsy shop, and I like this one. This circular format, it helped me to kind of put this all together quickly. I love this picture one of her classmates took. She really doesn't have another picture of all the kids that were in her major, so it was really, I was really happy to get this. I'm sure it was off of Facebook or Instagram or something like that. But and then, you know, once the cut file was made and the picture was on there, just added some embellishments and the page was done. Here is another graduation picture. I just thought she looked so happy. She was so happy. This is right after she graduated, right after she walked across the stage. And for the background, I couldn't find a good stencil or a stencil that I thought would be good. So I got a thin piece of plastic and I made a stencil from a cut file I got from the Silhouette Shop. These are, I don't know if you could see, these are graduation hats and diplomas. And I liked the way that worked against the black background. And then I also have the spot for the journaling right there. Okay, this layout I did not enjoy. This was not fun. I made this layout. I had this on a red piece of paper that had some splatters. I posted it on the Scrap Happy forum, and I looked at it again later in the day, and I thought to myself, I do not like this. I took this off. I threw away the red background. I put a black background. I'm not 100% sure if I like it any better now, but it's done. It's a layout about my husband always getting the scoop about what's going on. He's a real people person, so he likes talking to people and finding out what's going on. He found out where would be the best place that we could sit in the stadium for her graduation, for my daughter's graduation. And I also have the journaling here. Sometimes journaling fits fine on a page and sometimes it doesn't. And I don't want to ruin the composition of the page sometimes with putting in journaling. Sometimes I don't mind. Sometimes it goes well with the page. But I'm trying to, again, make sure that I document the story. So at least I did that on this page. This was the last page I did for Load this year. The prompt on this one was to use the title of a Beatles song and then to use a lot of white space. So I am not very good at using white space, as I've mentioned, so I think I did pretty well with this one. I got this cut file from the Silhouette Shop, and I just put the sprays behind on just a plain piece of paper, and this was used as kind of an overlay. And I spent a little bit of time picking out the letters, but other than that, as you could see, just a couple of embellishments, the picture with some pattern paper layered underneath it, and it also came together pretty quickly, I have to say, and I was pretty happy with that one. This next one I made for the Facebook group for Paper Issues. They have a great Facebook group. They have challenges, and they just finished something where they had 30 sketches, and this was one of the sketches that I loved. I was drawn to it right away, so I made this page, and I love birthday pages. I'm so happy. This page is also using a Paper Passion Posh cut file. I love, love, love this cut file. I've never seen anything like it before. I thought it was perfect for this page. It kind of had like an illusion kind of look to it, and I love Halloween layouts. Every year my family, about 4 years ago or so, started going to Salem, Massachusetts in October, and it's just a fun place to be at Halloween time. They have a lot of things that are, Halloween related. I'm not really a horror person, but my husband is. He likes, horror movies, and my kids like to be scared. So we really have a lot of fun going there. It's just fun. Some of the stuff is just, touristy fun stuff, and I'm totally fine with that. So I do a lot of Halloween layouts, and I just absolutely love this. I also made a stencil out of this cut file because I thought it would make a great background with texture paste. Love, love, love that cut file. This layout was also made. This was using an older collection, Kaisercraft #me, and I really love this collection. I only had a couple of pieces of paper that I got in a page kit, and I really stretched them. This is the last layout. This is like the last scraps. There was literally like nothing left after I was done. But I always wanted to do it one of those octagon pages. Of course, I have the punches, but never use them. And this gave me the opportunity to use my they're hexagon punches, and a mixed media background with some texture paste and lots of splatters. And this is the last layout that I'm going to share with you today. This was for a paper issues challenge. It was a telephone challenge where you can see the layout of the person that came right before you, but you don't see the sketch. So kind of like that game where you tell somebody, the next person in the line, something, and then by the end the message is changed. Well, by the end, the composition, I'm sure, changes whenever they do this. And so I got to see the person before me, and then I passed it on, and somebody else made a layout as well. And this was using, again, I used the watercolor and Distress Oxide sprays. I used texture paste and a stencil, and a summer collection. So thank you so much for watching all those layouts, watching my video and seeing all my layouts. And I hope that you'll join me again. If you'd like to check out all my layouts, you can go to Instagram and see them. My name is City Scrapper on Instagram. And I hope to see you again soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.